Video game content on this channel. I know I've made references to it a couple of different times, and yeah, I do enjoy video games, or at least I did. Haven't played anything that I've liked since April of 2020 when the Final Fantasy VII Remake came out, and due to the current trajectory of Square Enix, I've got hope for the second of the three iterations. What is it called? Rebirth or something like that. I'm trying to not take a look at any of the marketing when it comes to that, because I went in completely blind for the Final Fantasy VII Remake and was overwhelmingly surprised and happy with the results of that. So fingers crossed, but it's not all that hopeful, really. But no, I've just kind of fell out of love with video games. And, hey, man, I'm no regrets or anything like that. I take a look at the landscape right now. It's just everybody's playing a game that's been released last decade, like deep into last decade. Okay, you got Fortnite, whatever that's ballooned or changed into. Okay, it's a big pop culture amalgamation that's wildly popular, terrific, wonderful, fantastic. And even a game that was released, I think, in 2014. Okay, it was released on Xbox 360 and PS3. You remember Grand Theft Auto 5 came out 2 full console cycles ago, and now I think if I just take a look back, it probably got released in the Super Nintendo a couple of minutes ago. It's on every fucking platform. Christ almighty, you can play GTA 5 on my fucking universal controller, for Christ's sakes. It is fucking everywhere, so it's about time we got some news on the next iteration. I know that GTA Online is still making a ton of fucking money, and still all of the role plays and the different campaigns that go online are still wildly popular on Twitch. And this is why they are making these announcements and taking this wildly successful. Fuck, GTA 5 is the most successful the most singly successful media property in history. Okay? Bigger than Avengers Endgame, bigger than any music album, bigger than anything. Okay? GTA 5 has more copies, more money has been generated off the back of that than anything in history. So its follow-up, okay, it's such a slam dunk, but this, okay, you announced that yes, GTA 6 is in the works. Okay, what do you lead with? A release date, a release window or something? Nope! We got a brown woman! Okay, so I already know your product's gonna suck, okay? And it's not gonna suck just for the fact that you're doing that. No, it's your marketing, okay? The fact that this is the first thing that I seen, and we actually got the official release article because they leaked a lot of the details to Bloomberg of all fucking places, okay? I'm not hopeful for this at all, okay? And they're probably turning off more people than they are intriguing it because of this. And I take a look at this screenshot. Okay, I don't know if this was the first piece of concept art that they were putting out there. It's just, I don't care. I really don't care about this. And yeah, man, just like a lot of other gamers out there, I hold up the 3 GTA PS2 games on an elevated level. GTA 3, I played it after the second iteration, and San Andreas is fine as fuck. In the big open world, it was tremendous being able to go through Los Angeles, a variation of San Francisco, and Las Vegas. It was super cool. But my game, most like everybody else, okay, was the second one, was Vice City, because it was everything that was great about the 80s distilled into a game where you could fuck up Miami. It was so much fun. The voice acting, shout out to the late Ray Liotta playing Tommy Vercetti. Okay, it had aspects of Carlito's Way, obviously, like Miami Vice, because of the setting, of course, the Goodfellas. It was basically going through Scarface. Everybody loved that fucking game. And, you know, hey, licensing all of those tracks for the radio stations, perfect. Absolutely fucking perfect, okay? A lot of people probably got hip to the fact that, oh, Ozzy Osbourne's a little bit more than just Black Sabbath, and Bark at the Moon is fucking sweet. Oh, David Lee Roth, after he left Van Halen, he had a singles career after that. People who were born in the early to mid 90s got exposed to a lot of good fucking music. Care of K-Rock and what was the modern pop station, at least for the 80s setting, that was Vice City, okay? Michael Jackson got to be starting something, and a whole bunch of other shit, okay? That game was fucking great, and people have been hearkening for a return to Vice City, and then extrapolate it, and okay, just go to a much larger setting, and that's what we're getting with this game, except for the fact that they're pushing identity politics, and woke writing staff, and it's like, oh, okay, well, that's a way to deflate a balloon in record time. Okay, so let's get into some of this, because again, it just is all too fucking obvious what they're doing here. Okay, like I said at the beginning, people who are still excited about video games at this point in time, they're just playing the same games over and over and over again. Fortnite, some different iteration, a different paint job on the same fucking Dark Souls clone that's been out for just about 10 fucking years at this point. If you thought that there was a cultural malaise that set in at about the mid-90s all the way through till today, just take a look at the landscape of video games for proof of concept of that. There has been very little iteration since the battle royale genre that has just reigned supreme. And yeah, Fortnite's getting long in the tooth, but nobody really seems to care. They just recently added China's favorite pro wrestler, John Cena, into the game. So it's going to continue to make money, and because it continues to make money, it doesn't matter what's going to happen. Okay, is GTA 6 going to make a lot of money? Probably, eventually, when it ever does come out, because yeah, no, they released the release date, but look what they're banking all their marketing on. And why are they marketing like that? Because I said that, okay, at the beginning. Look at what is popular on Twitch. Right up there with Fortnite is GTA 5 right now, with the different role plays, the different heists online. Okay, it is top dog. It's right up there. Of course, it's all below the titty streamers. Obviously, that's what fucking Twitch is at this point. And what is Twitch's user base? Well, it's younger kids and a lot of fucking leftists. Okay, if you've been following any of the stuff that's been going on with interactive debates that have been out there, it has really exposed the leftist ideology that permeates all of Twitch. So you got these video game companies that are trying to push or pump out a new product, okay, replacing one that is hyper successful but long in the tooth. You gotta pander to that base. At least that's what they're thinking. So enough of me rambling off the top. Let's get into what they're trying to promote here. It's almost sad if I cared about this shit at this point, but this is what you get in entertainment today, okay? At least for mass consumption. There's a lot of niche projects that are out there trying to take over different spaces, like with comics, okay, even with film and Daily Wire, as much shit as I give that Ben Shapiro TradCon outlet, okay, they're at least trying to make films that don't suck. They're kind of failing in doing so. Every once in a while, Chris Pratt will do something decent, okay, but that's still backed with Amazon, so they can cast a wide enough net to just try to grab anybody, so whatever. Long and short of it is, it's few and far between. But one industry that desperately needs a takeover from the path that it's on, it's video games. 100%, okay. The next installment of the Grand Theft Auto video game series will have the series' first ever, oh my god, we're breaking ground, it's so great, first ever female protagonist, and aims to scale back its use of offensive humor. That's what makes GTA so great, okay? Once it transitioned to the 3D realm, okay, it was all about realistic interactions, okay, between Italians and blacks and Hispanics and immigrants, everything, okay, a realistic depiction of that, because the underlying theme of GTA is the dark side of the American dream, whatever lengths people go to in order to achieve that, okay. The nameless protagonist, I know he got a name from one of those fucking stories games, but it really doesn't much matter there in GTA 3, okay? Working his way up through the mob until he eventually kills his girlfriend at the end. It's been a long time since I played 3. And then Tommy Vercetti coming in from Liberty City into Vice City, okay, taking over everything, and then eventually having to get the happy ending for Scarface at the end. Let's be honest, that's how that one played out. Great game, fantastic. Probably my favorite in the series, probably. And then San Andreas, obviously, moving up from the Grove Street gang scene, going all the way through that San Andreas incarnation of the LA riots all the way to the end, and then end up capping Samuel L. Jackson at the end. Spoilers if you haven't played a game that's, Christ almighty, what was I, in 6th grade or something when that shit came out? PS2, for Christ's sakes. Didn't like 4, but that was still an immigrant story, okay? Somebody who came over from an Eastern Bloc country, working his way up, okay? On the tough streets of Liberty City, New York City, okay, for those of you not in the know. And then GTA 5, okay? They took a different approach. And that's what I think they might be doing here, but again, they're not very specific when it comes to announcing this. It's like, oh yeah, here's the release date. It has a woman of color, and if you don't like that, you're racist. And if you criticize that, that means that you're just gonna hate a game preemptively. And it's like, okay, so GTA 5 had 3 different protagonists. They had Franklin, they had Michael, and they had Trevor, each of which tackled a different aspect of life. Okay, reformed in Michael, a reformed gang member who is going through a modern day family with a shitty son, okay, a whore of a daughter, and a whore of a wife as well, okay? Which is also just kind of a red pill truth that, yeah, if you change the man that she married, okay, if a man changes in a relationship, it's over, but if a woman changes over the course of the relationship, that's to be expected. And then you also had Trevor, which was obviously, because it's easy to just pick on white guys, okay? He was the trailer trash, methed out, former mobster who was kind of clinging on to that lifestyle. We used to work with Michael. This is a long time ago. I could be getting a couple of these details wrong, but I got the overall aspect right. And then he had Franklin, who is the main protagonist, right? Black kid from just off of Grove Street, back from the old San Andreas days, okay? Coming up, working his way through, and then having to make a very difficult decision when it comes to the end of this game, or maybe overthrowing the government in some form or fashion, okay, and continuing to let everybody live happily ever after, okay? I liked the story of GTA 5. I only played through it once. It was kind of laborious towards the end. The pacing was a little bit off, but I did like it, okay? And yeah, if they were going to work in a woman here as one of the many protagonists, if they were going to be doing the 3-pronged attack here, okay, and then just, yeah, having a Latina woman coming over and being one of the main protagonists, that's an interesting story that they could be telling here, okay? Yeah, if they're going for all 4 of those, that could be a fine story to be telling, okay? Like a Cuban immigrant coming to, or whatever that equivalent in that specific world would be, from Cuba to Miami. That could be an interesting story, okay? And if you were going to take a look at a gritty tale of that and what it would entail from a young woman coming across on a raft from a communist country into Miami, current day Miami, because that's kind of what it looks like you're dealing with here once again. So yeah, fleeing a communist country in order to set up as a capitalistic endeavor, that could be an interesting story. But then again, if they aren't going to be addressing any of that stuff and it's just going to be nameless, fameless female protagonist, at least she doesn't have a side shave. Like, that would be the only thing more cliche about this at this point. Because you take a look at all of the announcements, okay? Even if you're peripherally aware of what's going on in media at large, here's our stunning, groundbreaking character. She looks like every other stunning and breaking character that's been out there, and why is nobody watching our shit, okay? And why do we just continue to churn out all this nonsense, okay? And that nobody remembers it a week and a half afterwards, okay? The Obi-Wan Kenobi show, it was all about the black empowered female, okay? She was the Inquisitor, one of the worst Inquisitors that are there. Even everybody else was saying how terrible and evil you are, and then you're supposed to feel good for her because she didn't kill Luke Skywalker. Oops, spoilers, it's fucking garbage show. I just watch reviews and read stuff when it comes to this. Keep on top of all this stuff, okay? Or Miss Marvel. Oh, Kamala Khan, so progressive, the first Muslim female superhero. Nobody gave a fuck about that. It just fucking died on the vine. Terrific, okay? Hawkeye getting replaced by Kate Bishop. How terrific, wonderful, fantastic. Nobody likes these characters because they're just defective men, practically, okay? And again, this is GTA. I know it's a video game and all that stuff, but you're trying to represent a realistic take, okay, on the American dream of American society. So I gotta look at her as just your average Latina female. So unless she's going to be running around shanking everybody, I'm not going to be able to take her too terribly serious. I know that there was that one drug queen pin that is out there, okay? But for every one of her, there is the entire drug system, okay? So I don't really give a fuck when it comes to that stuff. It immediately puts it off, and it wouldn't if they didn't make the announcement, okay, so proudly, that we're going to have our first female protagonist, and she's going to be a female of color, and also we're going to be toning down the racist and sexist jokes, which is, again, okay, if you're going to be depicting a accurate representation, even doing a parody or a commentary on the pursuit of the American dream and the lengths in which people are going to be going, it's just not going to be real. It's not going to be accurate. There's going to be that cognitive dissonance there. And it's just, you're going to end up with the one notable thing that ends up happening, just like with Red Dead Redemption 2, where everybody was just grabbing the suffragette who was yelling about feminism in the middle of the square and throwing her on the train tracks, and then having that video taken down, because that was the big hubbub when it came out to that, okay? I played a little bit of Red Dead Redemption 2 and just got fucking bored of it. But I like Westerns and all that stuff. And I like the first Red Dead Redemption. It was fun as fuck. I'd probably like it more if I just continued to go through. But still, that's the only lingering aspect of that game that persists. And I guess that's just what they're starting to try to do right now. Because again, this game, there is a release date that's come out for it. It's not coming out for a couple of years. Could be 3, or could be 2, could be 3 years from now. So they're just already trying to start the quote-unquote hype train for it right now by just making these grandiose statements. Oh, don't worry, guys. We're going to be putting in modern sensibilities and then releasing the game a few years from now. So, yeah, you're supposed to be able to digest everything that is palatable right now, and then you got to look at it in the future. So I guess they're just going to try to go for the sanitized approach. When has that ever worked, okay? Next installment, the Grand Theft Auto video game series, will have the series' first ever female protagonist and aims to scale back its use of offensive humor, particularly jokes aimed at minority groups, according to the report. And you're going to be doing it in your own representation of Miami. Okay, do you know how many different cultures, ethnicities, and nationalities are in Miami? And you're going to be scaling that stuff back. Okay, it's going to fucking suck. I can't say it's going to fail because it's Grand Theft Auto at the end of the day. It's one of the most profitable brands that's out there, okay? One that's immediately recognizable. The female Latina protagonist of Grand Theft Auto 6 will be part of a duo of main characters inspired by Bonnie and Clyde. Oh, great. I already know the fucking story. I know the story, okay? She only got drugged into this life of crime because she got hooked up with this just evil, vindictive man, and then by the end, she ends up killing her and getting her freedom. Okay, spoilers for 2025 when this eventually fucking comes out. The game will take place in a fictionalized version of Miami, and South Florida, according to a report. That's such a cool setting. It's just unfortunate what the fuck this is going to be, okay? Because I would love to be able to wrestle an alligator. That'd be fun as fuck, okay? Or go, what's that called? Airboating, okay, with the big rope, through the Everglades with the fucking, it's an airboat, right? Yeah, no, go through the Everglades on that, or even just take it and go downtown right on South Beach. That would be so much fucking fun. But I don't know, if you end up fucking running over a single mom, you'll immediately get a 5-star rating. It's like, oh god, whatever. I'm just surprised that they have guns in this one, okay, and they don't have orange caps on the top because remember when Alec Baldwin killed somebody? Oh right, yeah, nobody does. The game will take place in the fictionalized version of Miami and South Florida, according to the report. The last Grand Theft Auto game that took place in a fictionalized Miami was 2002's Vice City. What did I say? It was 8 years, I was in 8th grade when that came out. Well, I was 12 when that would have came out. Okay, so where does that put me? That would put me 6th grade? 6th grade sounds about right. So yeah, no. Yeah, that sounds about right. That sounds about right. And it's funny too, because that trifecta of PS2 GTA games, they came out in 2001, 2002, and I think San Andreas came out 2004, could be wrong on that one, but they came out in very quick succession. It's been 2014. It could have even been earlier, but I'm pretty sure it was 2014 for GTA 5. And again, this is going to take forever to come out, okay? So, again, I don't know, set your pre-orders for the PS6 for fuck's sakes, or just get a PC, you fucking plebs. Grand Theft Auto 6 developers, Rockstar Games, it's only Rockstar in fucking name at this point, are also reportedly abandoning the series, a record of making crude, potentially offensive jokes about minority groups. And developers are being cautious to not punch down at the expense of such groups, according to the report. How wonderful, fantastic. Previous Grand Theft Auto games stoked controversy both for the violent and explicit content, including letting players murder police officers, commit mass shootings, have sex with prostitutes, as well as their use of humor that critics say was racist, sexist, and homophobic. Yep. What also happened around the last time an official GTA game was released, not one of its many re-releases, Gamergate, okay? So you want to know why all this shit sucks as well? Gamergate, Twitch audience, social media. But yeah, let's get to the source that they're actually citing. Bloomberg article. Okay, this is the big Bloomberg. Yep, everything's properly in frame. This is who got the exclusive, right? And this was the big announcement. Rockstar Games cleared up its frat boy culture. And Grand Theft Auto 2. Oh, great, wonderful. Jason Schreier. Fuck off. That was one of those cats who was real down bad during Gamergate. With a new tone at the company as change in creative direction, GTA 6 will probably feel very different from its predecessor. So it's going to be like everything else that's out there. Okay, ooh, look, new Marvel movie, and then nobody shows back up for the second week. Okay, ooh, look, new Grand Theft Auto game. Okay, cool. We're just either going to wait for the PC port or just completely fucking ditch it. Okay, and then just go back to GTA 5 because take a look at Battlefield. Okay, they had a big hit on their hands way back in the day, and I know my references are old, but that was the last time I gave a fuck about video games. Battlefield 1 was a lot of fun. It was fucking great, okay? It delved into something that doesn't really get discussed or really get probed in media at large, and that's World War One. Now, this was back in the day. I think this presaged 1917 and Dunkirk and all that stuff. I think 1917 was about the First World War. I didn't watch it or anything like that. I just know that there was a couple of shows about that. But yeah, no, that was interesting. They had time accurate weaponry and everybody enjoyed that. And then they released the follow-up Battlefield 5 and they centered all around the we've got a female in our marketing and if you don't like it you're just racist. Yeah, and then it released, it did a fucking face plant and everybody went back to play Battlefield 1. And then they released Battlefield 20, I don't fucking know, futuristic, okay, and everybody's still playing Battlefield 1. And that's exactly what I can see going on here. Here's GTA 6. That's nice. We got mods for 5 and it's not woke and it doesn't suck. Oh, God, all fucking mighty. Oh, remember guys, video game announcement. In the summer of 2020, after a police officer killed George Floyd, Officer Fentanyl? Sorry, I must have forgot that. Okay. Rockstar Games quietly shelved a mode of play it had planned to release for Grand Theft Auto online game. Great, wonderful, fantastic. Okay. So one fucking career criminal ends up taking an L on the side of a curb, and over the course of the last 2 years, you couldn't have brought it back up. God, all this shit sucks. Okay, remember this was supposed to be about GTA 6, called Cops and Crooks. The mode was a twist on the children's game where players organized into teams of good guys and bad guys, but seemed especially tone deaf during the global reckoning over police violence. Is it really? See, you know what they did to show their displeasure of police violence? Commit actual violence and arson, okay, just because one officer followed the training that was in his book and some degenerate ended up fucking biting the dust. Yeah, no, exactly. But anyways, no, not about that. I just also noticing the stock trend on the other side with this announcement today. This should spurn hope at Take-Two, which is the parent company of Rockstar, by the way, okay. Their stocks are down. Congratulations. Okay, anyways, senior executives at the company, people who always have the best ideas, concerned about how the narrative might be interpreted during a time of heightened skepticism and mistrust of American police, put it aside. Senior executives worried what people like Jason Schreier would write in articles that only people like Jason Schreier write in order to appeal to those senior executives, okay, worried about what they would write. Okay, they still haven't made plans to bring it back, according to people familiar with development. But you can still see GTA Online role-playing games where people are going around being cops on different servers. So yeah, congratulations. Your lack of awareness ended up spurning creativity. So again, in the interim, before GTA 6 gets created, maybe we'll actually see that by some young innovators, because there's a lot of programmers that are out there, and I don't think that they all swing this far left when it comes to this type of ideology. There's got to be some based programmers out there, okay? This was one of several politically sensitive actions Rockstar. I never thought that I would read that, okay? Division of Take-Two Interactive Software has taken in recent years. The company removed transphobic jokes, wonderful, from the most recent console release of Grand Theft Auto 5 and significantly narrowed its gender pay gap. Cool. I have no idea what that's about, but again, you hire women, that's what you get. Rockstar's next game, Grand Theft Auto 6, will include a playable female protagonist for the first time. Well, will she end up being able to carry as many guns as the other protagonist can? Because that wouldn't be accurate. The woman who is Latina. Hey, you're at least not using Latinx, okay, but whatever. Will be one of the pair of the leading characters in a story influenced by the bank robbers Bonnie and Clyde, the people said. Developers are also cautious not to punch down by making jokes about marginalized groups, the people said, in contrast to previous games. Okay, so if she's Latina, okay, and that's a wide fucking net that's out there, and she's not going to make jokes about marginalized groups, so this is just going to be a big hate whitey fest? Like, is that what we're going to be doing here? Is that what you're trying to put out there? Okay, you're just trying to implement the inferiority complex into a fictional character? Is that what you're doing here? Oh, God, this is going to fucking fail spectacularly. Moves like this one seemed unthinkable for a company whose best-selling franchise is a satirical depiction of America that involves playing gangsters who kill civilians. No, who kill other gangsters, but again, all of these people just think that Grand Theft Auto is this big sandbox where people just run around and shoot things, okay? And shoot civilians, get their big fucking star rating, and then don't continue to go through the story. That's a small subsection of people, but yeah, whatever. And where women are mostly depicted as sex objects. No. It's just so wrong on a multitude of levels, but whatever, okay? Jason Schreier writes about video games, but he doesn't play or know anything about them. Grand Theft Auto 5 was a nihilistic parody that threw insults at everything from right-wing radio hosts to liberal politicians. Yeah, I don't remember most of that. I really don't. I remember even less about GTA 4, but at least its one redeeming quality was how much Opie and Anthony influence it had on their radio stations. Outside of that, that game is fucking trash. I don't have revisionist history when it comes to that. That game fucking sucked. It will continue to suck. Fuck you, fight me. The company was an early symbol of an industry-wide problem. Being successful, being something that people went back to time after time, something that people have made mods of in order to resuscitate for a new audience and new platforms over and over again. That's an industry-wide problem, okay? Of long hours at their office, known as crunch, in which staff were expected at their desks many nights and weekends in order to keep a game on schedule. And again, the gap between 4 and 5 was about a half decade, and then again, now we're looking at a full decade between releases, okay? I know that there's been a couple of little offshoots, okay? Red Dead Redemption very much smack dab in the middle of this, but again, this is supposed to be an announcement for GTA 6 in some form or fashion, and how far have we got on this? We're like halfway through the article. Strangely, that strategy was financially successful and turned Grand Theft Auto 5 into the second best-selling game of all time with 165 million copies sold. Led to burnout, attrition, and public controversy in 2018 that prompted hundreds of Rockstar employees to speak out about the difficult work environment. It's a bunch of soft fuckers. But whatever, since the outcry, Rockstar has attempted to reinvent itself as a more progressive and compassionate workplace. How well has that worked out for you? I guess we're going to see with the release of this eventually. According to interviews with more than 20 people who work there or left recently, all of whom requested anonymity because they weren't authorized to speak publicly. One employee described it as a boys' club transformed into a real company. A spokesperson for Rockstar declined to comment. So that boys' club that was making good and enjoyable games, okay, transformed into a real company, which just means intersectionality is now the flavor of the day. Can a kinder, gentler Rockstar still produce the chart-topping caliber of game the studio has been known for? Off rip, yeah. And the fact that it's probably going to be released on everything from a toaster to whatever console is out at the time, because you take a look at a lot of releases that are coming out right now, a lot of them are not exactly console-specific. Okay, even if it's just a Sony exclusive, it's still coming out on the PS4. Because right now, it's really difficult, even still, 2 years after these fucking pieces of plastic released, you can't find a PS5 out there, okay? You can look on Amazon, you can look at Walmart, you can't press a couple of buttons to make one appear at your door. It's fucking impossible, just off rip. Like, I could try to do it right now, but it would all come out in vain, and plus, I wouldn't buy a PS5, even if you fucking paid me at this point. I'd just wait for the ports to come out on PC, if I was even interested in coming back to video games in any form or fashion. But again, please don't break my heart, second Final Fantasy VII Remake. But okay, continuing on just a little bit longer. Some employees aren't sure. Morale across the company is higher than it's ever been, according to many staffers. But the development of Grand Theft Auto 6 has been slower than impatient fans and even longtime employees have expected. Yeah, oh no, everything is so much nicer because I can look across the way and I can see a black female at a computer. And even though the LaQuisha's taken a really long time to code, I know that she feels welcome here. Cool, great. So you're running on previous success, and then when this game, like, it'd be impossible for me to say that GTA 6 is going to flop. But are they going to be leaving money on the table? It's always what you see with these instances, okay? Take a look at the movies that are comparable right now, okay? Big first week, fucking astronomical drop-off. Much of this has to do with the pandemic. This game has been in production in some form or fashion for multiple fucking years, and you're telling me that the pandemic that started, okay, in March of 2020 has to do with the delay. Okay, cool. But again, yeah, just blame that on everything. Yeah, the coof was the problem. You couldn't code at home, okay? And that stupid hunk of shit, The Last of Us 2, the finishing touches on that got done remotely, okay? Nothing was gonna fix that game or save it from its woke fucking failures, but that still happened there, okay? And if you got a big enough team, like, Rockstar's a big fucking team, okay? You're telling me that you can't piecemeal or at least work on stuff, okay, at a computer at your own home? I've got to press X it out. And the fact that they're throwing all of this marketing and all of these excuses, it's like, what did you expect? We developed this game during a pandemic. Of course it wasn't going to be as good. You've waited how fucking long to do this? Come on now. But the delay is also due to some of the changes that the company implemented in an effort to improve working conditions. Oh, so you made the team less efficient. Tell us exactly how you did that. Such as a restructuring of the design department and a pledge to keep overtime under control. Yeah, so if you're on a good coding run, okay, you want to get some textures finished and however the fuck you make video games and shit, okay, but no, your 8 hours is up, you're gonna have to go home because we're a kinder, gentler Rockstar now. Great. Some workers say they're still trying to figure out how to make games at the new iteration of Rockstar and wonder even what a Grand Theft Auto game looks like in today's environment. Bad. I'll just tell you, it's going to be bad. Besides, several Rockstar employees pointed out that you can't really satirize today's America. It's already a satire. It's of itself. No, you can. You guys just cannot possibly think outside of your own ideological bubble. That's the fucking problem. It is so easy. Oh my god, all you need to do is just have like a mayor, or you just need to have some fucking authority figure who is just batshit lick the walls crazy, okay? Forgets his speech halfway through, okay? And then you could have the governor of the state, okay, just be this bloviating asshole if you wanted to go in that direction, okay? There are legitimate things you can do, okay? You can show whatever iterations of Black Lives Matter and Antifa. Oops, your guys' protected class, and probably, if we take a look at membership when it comes to Rockstar's current development team, probably a few of them fucking line up with them ideologically. And by few, I mean well over half. Let's keep it a stack. LARPing with cardboard tubes and fucking trash can lids, okay, against whatever incarnation, Oath Keepers, Proud Boys, whatever the fuck you want to have in a park, just jousting and slap fighting back and forth. That would be funny as fuck. And that's just a couple of things one asshole in a little fucking tiny room is just making up off the top of his head, okay? But no. All of these people that are fucking pandered to and catered to, they can't come up with anything because, the world is just so crazy, and I don't know. I can't think of my own ideas without Stephen Colbert or Rachel Maddow feeding them to me directly. I just don't know. Another reason why this game's gonna suck. Between the company's new mandate, and the 2019 departures of Dan Houser. Yeah, no, that's another thing. It's Rockstar in name only at this point, okay? Who led the direction of many previous Rockstar games. All signs suggest Grand Theft Auto 6 will feel very different than its predecessor. And again, all this shit is written with feels. It should feel different. It should be different. It's in a different setting. You're using different technology. It should be completely bigger, even if you just want to take the direct comparison to Vice City. Now, that's going to be very difficult, okay? That was made on certain technology with certain limitations all the way back in 2002. It's going to be over 20... Jesus, it's going to be over 20 years until you revisited that landscape. It should feel different than that. It should look different. It should play different. It should be different. When you take a look at today's media landscape, at least on the mass side, at least on the mainstream side, it's all fucking homogenous nonsense, okay? For every Yellowstone that's out there, you have CBS's lineup. You have NBC's lineup. You have ABC's lineup. It's all just fucking dreck. Is there anything that anybody sits around to anymore, okay, and watches religiously and discusses on a weekly basis? I can't think of anything. What was it? Game of Thrones, and that did nothing for me. That was the last thing that people were glued to and watching on a mass scale. Like, I know some people like that Better Call Saul, that spin-off of Breaking Bad, and every once in a while you'll have a streaming show pick up. The vast majority of schlock that's out there, it's all the same. And unfortunately, it really does look like Grand Theft Auto is heading down that path. Just a little more, I swear, okay? Because this is the last section that's down there. They were just going over the structure and see, oh, Red Dead Redemption 2, fun, great game and all that stuff, I guess. I know, people like it, right? But the transformation of Rockstar, including changes to scheduling, converting contractors to full-time employees, and ousters of several managers that employees saw as abusive or difficult to work with. What, men having a vision and direction and a bunch of fucking betas banding together and going to human resources? Something like that. When the pandemic started, workers received care packages, cloth masks, and surprise bonuses. Oh, boy. During the protests over the death of George Floyd. Oh, you mean the riots that burned down a lot of the neighboring communities that were there? Because Rockstar is in Silicon Valley, and at least as far as I know, a black man who was murdered by police officers. No, only one. There was one that was charged. You probably don't even know who that is. You guys know, just not, what's his name? Fucking Jason. I have a really tight relationship with my wife's boyfriend, Schreier. Capital B black man and George Floyd, okay? It was Derek Chauvin. The other officers got erroneous charges of civil rights violations at a federal level, okay? I don't know what you mean by multiple officers murdering him. One called for the ambulance to show up and the rest of them were doing crowd control. But no. Their silence was complicity. The company said it would match donations to, the lesbian money laundering scheme, Black Lives Matter. Employees have been given new mental health and leave benefits. Ugh, fuck off. Hope this game never comes out. A new policy called Flexi time. Ugh, Christ. And you say they have no material to parody. What the fuck are you doing? You live it. Allows staff to immediately take time off every extra hour they work. How do you get anything done at this pace? Fuck. And for the past 4 years. Oh, right, because that's how long the pandemic's been. Oh, no, wait. Management has promised that excessive overtime won't be required for Grand Theft Auto 6. It'll come out when it comes out. It's just like George R.R. Martin writing a novel. It'll come out when it comes out, which is never. One of the most highly anticipated games by the fans and investors on the planet. Not with these announcements. Everybody's like, oh, great, well, whatever. Sticking to that pledge has already prompted changes to the game. Original plans for the title, which in codename Project Americas, were for it to be more vast than any Grand Theft Auto game to date. Okay. Early designs called for the inclusion of territories modeled after large swaths of North and South America. That'd be interesting. According to people familiar with the plans. If they did, like oh, man. Okay, so if anybody who's like red-pilled or based out there and who's a video game programmer and for whatever reason you stumbled across this long diatribe, okay, if that's what they were going to do, they were going to have a North America and South America destination. There was probably going to be a drug running storyline where you'd go down to whatever Colombia, Venezuela, whenever one of those places, okay, to actually get the uncut dope, a la Scarface. Oh, we were robbed of that? Ugh, fuck, that would have been fun. But the company reeled in those ambitions and cut the main map down to the fictional version of Miami and its surrounding areas. Yeah, because the people that they employ have no individual ideas of their own. Rockstar's plan is to now continually update the game over time. Yeah, no, exactly. Never putting out a finished product, because how do you monetize something that's complete? Oh, thanks, success of Grand Theft Auto Online. adding new missions and cities on a regular basis for the online market. Okay. Yeah, no, we'll put that out instead of just having the multiple different expansion packs that you had for GTA 4. Like you had the 2 dedicated ones. Okay. Instead of doing that for GTA 5, no, everything's just going to be online. And oh yeah, we're really proud about this heist function, but you have to do it online with friends, and make sure you buy our shark cards because the microtransactions are great. But yeah, back to this, which the leadership hopes will lead to less crunch during the game's final months. No, if you guys have taken a decade to do this shit, you should have steady progress on it. Okay, what the fuck are you doing? Okay, probably, I don't know, probably having big sit-ins whenever the January 6th committee hearings happen so everybody can just sit and watch and be like, Orange Man's bad, I agree, and then everybody clapped. To avoid overtime, Rockstar has also added more producers to keep track of schedules. Oh great, more chefs in the kitchen. This game's gonna suck. A move that's mostly been positive, developers said. Oh, of course, yeah, no, exactly. Fewer people making individualistic choices, again, and then just having the hive mind come in and clean everything up. No creativity, you just follow the plan. Where are we? But one that also has caused bottlenecks. Yeah, no, exactly. Didn't even need to finish that sentence without figuring out exactly what that means. Some employees said that they found themselves waiting around to communicate through the middleman. That's why everything's taking so long. You have more layers of middle management and nothing's getting done. Nothing's getting accomplished. Everything's getting lost in the sauce. What a fucking mess. What a mess. And what? Haven't talked about the lady of color being the protagonist. It has nothing to do with it. The entire development of this just sounds laborious, awful, ideologically driven, and fucking bad. Keep it 100. Rockstar put in place a new management structure following the departure of former design director Imran Sawar, who was accused, oh great, by several employees of bullying and verbal abuse. Great. I don't know what he worked on. I don't know if he was great or not. But again, I always take these accusations of bullying and verbal abuse as somebody wasn't doing their job. Okay, somebody was being fucking lazy. And Sarwar just decided to put these fuckers in place. And it's like, well, I feel bad. Yeah. His position was filled by 3 other I didn't even notice that. Filled by 3 other directors, creating what several people described as too many cooks. Situation where design and decisions are frequently left in flux or contradict one another. Yeah, here's the announcement of the release window. We're all the way at the bottom of the article. Again, look at how progressive Rockstar has come. Okay, with the announcement of our new game officially, right? Because there's been leaks and rumors surrounding the impending release of this game for a long time, okay? Because we've known tertiarily that it's going to be a return to Vice City, and that's why everybody was waiting for it. And then this shit drops today, and it's like industry analysts anticipate the next Grand Theft Auto game will be out sometime in Take-Two's 2024 fiscal year, which runs from April 2023. Oh, great, so as early as next spring through March of 2024. Okay, but developers are skeptical. The game has been in development for some time, in some form since 2014. Although there are loose schedules in place, people interviewed for this article said that they didn't have any firm release date and that they expect the game to be at least 2 years away. I wonder if Trump will be able to go through his entire second presidency without the release of GTA 6. And then all of their, like, okay, if they're going to be taking something, if they're going to be writing a story, doing all this work for something that is socially conscious for today, I know they didn't make that, but that's the implication. They're writing a story that presaged Trump. Okay, 2014. Gamergate was in its infancy at the time. Okay, Comicsgate have already run. I think that was 2011. But even, yeah, in 2014. Okay, and then TDS running rampant throughout the media industry. Okay, and then everything with 2020 getting worked in as well. This game is just, it's going to be outdated by the time that it released. And it's already way out of fucking date. Everybody's just kind of done and moved on. Like, I don't know, man. I went from being, oh shit, I've been saying that it came out in 2014. It came out in 2013. like one of the last few times where there was some sort of sanity out there in the world. I know Obama was wreaking havoc, okay, over top. Oh, if I had a son, he would look like Trayvon Martin, who was an abuser and got exactly what he fucking deserved. Yeah, the most profitable entertainment property of all time, thanks to the multiplayer component, Grand Theft Auto Online. I already stated why Grand Theft Auto 6 is being pitched like this, released like this, marketed like this. It's because of Twitch. It's because of the online game, okay? So, main story is going to end up taking a backseat to this, but if the writing of shit tier proportions like many other media companies and many other iterations of successful franchise put out like this, man, if everything is to be taken at face value, Rockstar is probably a better place to work, but are they going to be producing content and producing a product that anybody gives a fuck about? It's running on old fumes, okay? And they discontinued Red Dead Redemption 2's online. They aren't going to be supporting it anymore. So it's hard to tell what they're actually putting out because their lack of putting anything out, it's kind of telling in and of itself. So yeah, I guess we'll probably check in when I'm celebrating my 40th birthday. Maybe GTA 6 will be coming out by then. Christ almighty. So with all of that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.